But takes the tackle of Walker and of Mortimer. Coyne from the dummy half on to Stewart, to Sullivan, holds the ball up. Again, a terrible pass, and it should be picked up there by Penrith, and it is, with Carter just outside his quarter line. And that's a break that has gone astray, but it's with Cartwright. Cartwright decides to go on his own, then flip it back to Roy Simmons. He doesn't know what to do either, so he goes a little rabbit straight down the middle of the paddock. 8 metres out from his own quarter, tackled by Meninga and Todd. Plays the ball back to Alexander, to Clark, and again Clark makes his customary 8-9 metres. Gets up slowly to play the ball with Coyne all over the top of him, with Alexander. Holds it up for Walker, and Walker, yes, you're right, he hasn't passed the ball. He has gone down 6 metres from the halfway mark. It's with Alexander. That's a better looking kick towards the western touchline. This is going to be nice and close, but again the bounce doesn't favour him. He rolls into the in-goal area and will roll dead in goal, and that's exactly what it will do, to go back to the quarter line for the tap. Tony Melrose.
Yeah, Matthew Wood's coming on the field now to replace him in 41. I think he's taking the place of Gaffey, if I believe. Yeah, Gaffey's leaving the field after a very solid performance for Canberra.
So that'll make it interesting. Gaffey's come off. Matthew Wood, okay, we'll just see where he's going to pack down into this, but it's with the Raiders, and it is with Todd. And Todd just takes the tap from Walters and makes 5 metres out from his own quarter before he's run into Walker, playing on the shorter side to Lance. And Lance playing just steady football, nothing spectacular. 2 or 3 metres down the middle every time, and it's Coyne's turn. He goes 10 metres this time. One off. Mortimer and Simmons, the defenders. With Daly. Daly puts some snap into the attack, comes to the halfway mark until he's met there in a bear hug by Clark, and Simmons comes in to help, but Daly remains on his feet. Plays the ball back to Walters, to Ricky Stewart. A good, flat, hard kick looking for the eastern touchline. That's where he found it. And again, David Green wasn't within 8 metres of the ball. Mike Cleary.
Didn't want anything to do with it. I know Meninga's coming out. I thought Meninga might have gone in the second row then, but he's coming back out into the centre position. But it was a fine kick, and you'll notice that Stewart is using that low projectile kick, and as the ball hits the ground, it slides towards the sideline.
It looks as though Laurie Daly's going to pack in at lock, and that's exactly what he's done, as Wood goes out into the centre. So it's with Green, who just about every scrum close to the line has come into the 5-8 spot. This time it's picked up at the dummy half by Carter. He tries to get towards the quarter line, but he's met by O'Sullivan. Again with the Panthers, again with Cartwright. And nobody follows Cartwright. They're all, the Panthers, are literally 10 metres behind the play and walking. Now it's Fittler's turn, and again, there's nobody there. He's made a good bustling run of 10 metres. The Panthers, what's wrong, Tony Melrose?
I don't know. I think they're getting that stage where it could be exhaustion situation. There'll be a couple of replacements very shortly.
Okay, it is with Green this time, trying to jig his way past Meninga. He puts out those 2 big arms, does the crush, puts it to ground midway between the quarter line and the halfway mark, and with Alexander again looking for the western touchline. That's a better looking kick. He's got Chico Ferguson going back for it. He's going to beat him in a touch right on the radar quarter line. That time the ball took the rightful bounce instead of bouncing back on the inside, with Canberra 12 leading Penrith 10.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of luck for Grell Alexander there, because he hasn't had much success with the kicks. This one has put them on the 22 mark, is where the scrum is going to be formed, and the Harrigan is standing right on it as the arms go up for the props, and they're getting ready to go down. Penrith is standing up. Fittler's calling for the ball.
So it's Ricky Stewart to feed this scrum. It's a pretty ugly sort of a scrum, and we'll have it again, says referee Harrigan. Right on the quarter line and 10 metres in from the western touchline. 12-10 Raiders leading Panthers 13 minutes to the full-time hooter. And Harrigan is now taking the scrum back further into the field of play, and will reset it for the 3rd time. The Stewart feeds. Again, another ugly scrum, but the ball's out with O'Sullivan. Holds it up for Wood. Wood, snapped onto that ball well, but so too was the defensive Green, who snapped his arms together and put him down just outside the quarter. Whipped over to Stewart. Stewart to Lance. Lance on the Belcher! Belcher up to the halfway mark. He's got Ferguson on the outside of him. Decides to go on his own. Drops back inside Green. And thankfully, from a tackle from Geyer. And Geyer came from nowhere to drop Belcher. What a good run from Geyer, but it's still with the Raiders. And it's with Daly. And Daly does his jinking stuff that he's so brilliant at. And he jinks his way to the Panther quarter line on the far side of the field. He gets up to play the balls with Coyne. Coyne finds Lazarus. And Lazarus has dropped the ball. And so slow was Geyer to think about it. The brain eventually said, fall on it, but if you had the ball in your hand, you belong to it. Green takes the ball to within 2 metres of the quarter line. The Panthers, as Alexander goes into dummy half, puts it over to McIndoe, and McIndoe takes on the defence, but it's too good for him in the form of Coyne and O'Sullivan, this time with Cartwright, and again no one with him. The closest one was Alexander, and he was walking. The Panthers are down to a crawl. They're down by 2 points as well, as it's with the
Oh, it's unbelievable. The front two playing second row is Fiddler and Alexander. They're playing forwards and backs.
Just with Alexander, and Alexander puts his boot to it, looking for the western touchline, takes a big hop to get towards the line, and does. Just outside the corner, Chicker Ferguson made every attempt to try and haul it in, but it just beat him in the touch, and again, we have the scrum to go down this time just outside the quarter line as we have Phil Carey coming on the paddock, Tony Melrose.
Yeah, not only Phil Carey, but Joe Vitance is on the field, and Barry Walker's the replaced player in the Penrith front row. Phil Carey's taken the right wing, and he's replaced Paul Martin.
Okay, thanks, Tone. As Ricky Stewart's about to feed this scrum. Just under 11 minutes left on the clock in this 1990 Winfield Grand Final, where the reigning premiers and minor premiers Canberra lead Panthers by 12 points to 10. And it is a Raider ball, and it's with O'Sullivan. Chops back on the inside of Green and runs headlong into Mortimer, and that hurt Bates. Just outside the quarter line. Quick play the balls with Chicker Ferguson. He's almost broken the first tackle, but Batanza comes over the top and scruffs him up as well with the help of Mortimer. Ferguson gets up to play the balls with Lance one off, and Batanza goes to him too, but the tackler was Mortimer, and that was a top tackle. But Chicker Ferguson's hurt his left leg. It's with Todd, and Todd goes straight into Cartwright. He grabs him around the shoulders and eventually flings into the ground midway between the Raider quarter line and the halfway mark. And it's with Walters as the Raider hooker tries to get within sight of the halfway mark of his foul by a couple of metres, with the last tackle for the Raiders coming up. Banner's back with Ricky Stewart in the super boot. Good solid whack. Back goes Smith. He could be a little bit late this time, and it's brilliant. You are a genius, Ricky Stewart, as he finds touch, and a big screen comes up with Ricky Stewart's smile on his face, and little wonder he found touch 2 metres from the corner.
Low projectile again, but somehow he gets the ball going in such an angle that when it hits, it just turns right angles and goes out. It's amazing the control he's got from his kicks.
We'll get to Tony Melrose on that in a minute, because he does it so often. He's got to have it down to a fine pat, but the scrum goes down with Alexander to feed. It's in Alexander's hands. Now it's with Carter towards the centre of the paddock until he's wrapped up there in a good tackle. Front on from O'Sullivan. 10 metres out from the Panther line. There's with Smith, the try scorer, and he goes bustling his way towards the quarter line, but he's fouled by a couple of metres. He gets up to play the ball to Royce Simmons. Finds Alexander, holds it up for Izzard. He's looking a bit better by the minute inside a Fickler. He's dropped the ball right in his own quarter line, and that was having a peak. Tony Melrose.
It certainly was. I think there was also an arm in the tackle that tended to drag the ball down. Fiddler's not very happy with himself. You want to watch Ricky Stewart here at 12-10 with only 9 minutes left on the clock. If the Raiders can't score in the first 5, watch Ricky Stewart potting a field goal.
But with Stewart to feed this scrum, which is a pretty horrendous sort of affair, it's all over the shop, and the penalty has gone to the Raiders. How Bill Harrigan could let a scrum set like that in the first place. There wasn't one person in position, and it should have been reset. And tell you what, this half has not been Bill Harrigan's best half, let me tell you, in this entire season. We'll see what will happen here as Mal Meninga will look for the line, and will no doubt go awfully close into being right on the ball for looking for 6 tackles for the additional points to Bridges, or to loosen the gap rather, of 12 points to 10. Now we have a tackle. Quickly to Ricky Stewart. Stewart onto O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan feints towards the likes of Todd. Goes on his own, goes down to the tackle of Geyer. Could have been upset there too as well, but it's back with, this time with Wood, and Wood goes chipping towards the centre of the field, but he's again caught by Geyer. But it's Chicker Ferguson, and he gets the ball back to nobody, but it's picked up by Belcher to Lazarus. Beautiful pass on to Meninga. Meninga decides to go on his own. Guy with Phil Carey, and Carey's gone without the ball. He dived for the line of right, but the ball wasn't with him, so a let off there for the Panthers.
Was a let off. He had the ball almost in his arms, but as he was flying through the air, it bounced right out of his chest and hit the ground. And watching Roy Ferguson, he was hanging around the dummy half there. He was trying to instill some sort of, unusual things into the game.
So it's with Batanza from the tap on the quarter line from Simmons, and Batanza muscled his way 8 metres out from his own quarter, trying to go quickly to play the ball because there's only 7.5 minutes left on the clock. And it's with Carter running backwards to go forwards. Now gets it to Fittler, held onto that pass. He pushes off Wood. He's got Smith on the outside of him, comes back on the inside, but Ferguson meets him, so does Wood, and also a top tackle there from Todd. Gets up to play the ball. It's with Simmons onto Alexander. Alexander to Mortimer. Mortimer back on the inside, but again the defence has snapped him up with Lazarus and with Coyne. Looked over to Batanza. Batanza has Alexander on the outside of him. It's with Alexander, sights the gap, puts the ball out beautifully to McIndoe. McIndoe comes to Wood, gets past Wood, goes into later Chelsea, gets the ball back on the inside. Good bit of work from Alan McIndoe. That's one of the reasons why he's one of the best wingers in the country. So it's with the Panthers and Alexander. Alexander has bet up there with his opposite number in Ricky Stewart. And eventually Stewart brings it to ground with the help of Coyne. Time running out for the Panthers, and it's with Izzard, and up and under, the big bomb is up, but it's a hopeless bomb, and it's got even away from Izzard and whipped up there by Batanza. He's got no one to pass it to, and it's a turnover.
Well, Izzard put it up in the air there, and he strolled through very slowly, but no one came with him.
Ferguson going from dummy half, caught by Vitanza from behind, and Royce Simmons, and goes down again, favouring that left leg. It's at to play the ball, and it's with Wood. Wood just past the half, first tackle of Simmons, but Simmons comes again with the help of Vitanza. 6 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock, and that man Belcher has now pinched another 20 metres over the halfway mark, right down the centre of the field, and is picked up dummy half by Waters. Waters looking for support, finds it with Stewart. Stewart again slips, and that's as Greg Alexander did in the first half, and loses his footing and goes down eventually under the tackle of Carter. Gets up to play the ball. There the pips for 5 o'clock, and it's with Daly. And Daly chips it back there to Green, who read the ball well. And he was picked up by Carey right on his own quarter line. Quick play the ball, and very snappy pick up there from McIntyre. Picked it up with one hand. Now he's going to lost the ball. And the penalty will go to Penrith because Laurie Daly's been found guilty in the eyes of Constable Bill Harrigan for pinching the fruit.
Well, it's amazing what you can get caught for in this game, but Penrith, I think the time's got away from them. They've had their chances, but the last 15 minutes they've just played like a lost cause. There's no one seems to be interested. They're not even getting involved in the game. They're leaving it to individuals.
Joe Alexander looks for touch on the eastern side and finds it 5 metres short of the halfway mark as we get to Roy Simmons for the tap. And the tap goes to Alexander, holds the ball up for Green, and Green's very predictable. He goes to the right and moves to the left. He's gone to the right and moved to the left. Looked over to Vitanza, and Vitanza goes from the right to the left as well and lost the ball. Pick up quickly, and it's on to Daly. Daly links up with Meninga over the halfway mark. Sights the opening, goes through the tackle, and Mortimer comes to the corner line. Going to get the ball away, goes to Daly. This is some tight machine here. As Daly's got plenty on the outside, goes over the quarter line, hooks it over to Wood, and Wood's going to score. What a super bit of football from the Raiders. That's why they're the premiers, and they've gone further ahead, leading by 16 points to 10 inside the last 5, and that was a super try.
It was a super try, and you see Laurie Daly there at his best as he came charging through. He ran across field to the left-hand side over into the members' area, but he kept going across, saw the opening, put the head back, and away he went again, and quickly got the ball outside to Wood, who just went across unopposed. No Penrith players across there anywhere near him.
Well, so often you see Louis Mortimer miss 2 tackles in the one move, but that's what happened in that. And the brilliance of Daly and the speed of Wood in support clinched that try for Mal Meninga to come back for the conversion attempt, which will be only a couple of metres in from the western touchline and 5 metres out from the quarter line. And it's inside the last 5 with the reigning premiers Canberra leading by 16 points to 10. Mighty Mal's kicked 2 from 2. Tony Melrose.
It's a sensational try. That was the centres of Daly and Meninga who put that one together. And as I talk, Gary Coynes walked past me looking much the worse for wear. And a couple of replacements coming out. We've got the second grade side now. David Barnhill's on the field. And also Great Bellamy, the captain of the losing reserve grade side. But that was a tremendous try. In the main, set up by Meninga down the right-hand touchline. But when Laurie Daly got the ball, he set sail from the eastern touchline on a diagonal run. Then in fact went backwards right over to the western touchline. Quite a sensational try. I don't think Matthew Woodcock could believe his eyes when the ball come right across the field to him to score it.
So it's with Mal Meninga for the conversion attempt. Oh, this is a great living kick from touch right over the Dotsky. And as Mal Meninga punches the air with a super kick, the Raiders have got it all sewn up, leading by 18 points to 10. I can't see Panthers in any shape or form picking up those 8 points. They've got to score 3 times.
I can't see them doing. Alexander's got in there quickly to kick off, which he's done.
Here's it now. It's with Isner. What a beautiful bit of work on the Fiddler. And suddenly the Panthers have come alive when it's all hopeless and lost. Over Tanza takes it to the eastern touchline. Looks it over to McIntyre. Can he get the ball away? Can't. He goes down under the tackle. Only 2 metres outside the corner of Carey. It's with Alexander. Fires a long pass out to Cartwright. Cartwright passes for the first time today to Guy's looking for the pass to give away, but there's no one there. Smith eventually comes there from dummy half. Gets away from the likes of Todd, but Todd comes again. And Wood was there to help him with Bellamy. He gets up to play the ball 18 metres out from the line as Mortimer comes into dummy half. On to Alexander, to Cartwright. Cartwright makes half the bus, gets the ball back to Fittler. On to Alexander. Alexander skips Cart, as in the David Campese mile, until he's whipped him out by Mal Meninga. Says, I won't fall for that sort of a trick. It's with Cartwright 2 metres out as the Raider defence holds with Bellamy. Only a metre out now as he muscles his way towards the line. Time running out for the Raiders, for the Panthers, I should say, with the Raiders now in total command, but the penalty has gone to the Panthers. Tony.
Yes, the Panthers, I suppose, are at this particular stage in time, probably wondering what they should do with only about 3. In fact, 4 minutes 58 on the clock. I think that might be an old story, but
I'd say that's the full-time hooter as referee Bill Harrigan is looking towards his touch judgment, and that's it. Canberra retained the Winfield in 1990 with an 18 points to 10 win over the newcomers to the whole scene, and that Mike Cleary.
To try, because I put my stopwatch on. I've got there's 3 minutes 36 seconds left in the game. Now there's a try being awarded.
Right, we'll get down to Tony Melrose because he's looked all over the shop. Tony.
Yeah, what's happened over there is that Alexander's taken a quick tap, unbeknownst to all the Canberra players, and just stole it straight over the line underneath their noses from about half a metre out.
Well, they must have thought the hoot had gone.
Well, I heard the hooter. I heard a hooter. And that was extraordinary. But it's got a different scoreline now. After Alexander convert his own try, he's just outside the quarter line and 3 metres from the eastern touchline. Extraordinary set of circumstances as he moves in with his conversion attempt. It's got plenty of height. And it's gone to the left of the post. So the scoreline's only 4 points to this, 18-14. And Mike Cleary, you've got your stopwatch on there. You've got...
Well, I've got this. I've got this
40
a minute.
seconds.
Yeah, that's about all there is left. 40 seconds.
Well, it'll take 40 seconds for the Raiders to get to the centre. So the Raiders, 18-14. 3 tries each. The goals have been the difference as Mal Meninga is coming up ever so slowly to the centre. And already the photographers are clicking away in the Raider camp. And looking good as the ball's in the air. And it's back to David Green, who takes it well in the in-goal area, gets it over to McIndoe. Can there be an unbelievable final few seconds like it was last year? McIndoe skipping out of one tackle of Wood, but Wood comes again with Carey. It's just inside the quarter line. Eventually goes down under the tackle with Todd, gets up to play the ball, and it is with Alexander. Alexander tries to get hold of the ball and drops it. Canberra in possession, 15 metres out from the line, and the hooter could have gone this time, and that's it to Phil Harrigan, 18 points to 14, and the jubilant Raiders have done it again. 1989, 1990, and that was a solid, if not spectacular win.
Well, it certainly was a spectacular win. I mean, I've seen brighter grand finals. There was highs and lows there, and but the last 5 minutes, of course, was found with controversy where David heard the hooter. I thought the hooter went. The game was stopped. The clock usually stops on 5 minutes, but for some unknown reason it shot back to 4 minutes 80. 4 couldn't be 4:80. It must be. Well, it did go to 4. Went to a silly figure. And then we see that Alexander, in all the confusion, just tapped the ball, went over in the corner post for a try. But all the players are out there on the field now. Some of the Penrith ones on their back, very dejected, very sorry for themselves.
I've lost Tony Melrose. Can you see him? There's an
Well, I can hear someone in the microphone screaming, but I can't see Tony.
Tony, there's so many people on the paddock, and it's unbelievable. And with every good reason, because that was a mighty win. Tony Melrose.
Yes, I've got Laurie Daly, very, very emotional Laurie Daly with me. Laurie, must be a great feeling, mate.
Oh, Tony, it's been so fantastic, mate. It's been just great. Win two, mate, something. I can't describe it.
He's left me. I'll have to come back to you.
Okay, buddy. Well, now I know where you are. I can see you now. There's such a huge hunk of humanity over there as the Raiders go on their lap of honour. They're going to do it towards their supporters. They've done each and every time this season on the eastern side, and there are plenty over there. The green flags over there, Mike Cleary, outnumber the Panther flags by plenty.
Well, they must have come up in busloads because there is plenty of there. Although when they ran on the field, I thought the Penrith supporters were outnumbered, or they outnumbered the Canberra supporters. But the way it looks at the moment, I think someone has had some of their flags hidden in their pocket, and now they've got a wing and they've dragged them out and started to wave them because it didn't appear that way in the first half.
One of the uglier things you can do in the end of a football season is to interview someone from the losing side of a grand final. Tony Melrose is moving towards the Panthers, who at the moment are in their own huddle, as Phil Gould is keeping all bar the press photographers away as he's talking and consoling his troops, as the Raiders have gone to the eastern side on the quarter line at the southern end, having won the game by 18 points to 14. 3 tries each, but the boot of Mal Meninga made the difference. He kicked 3 from 3, and that's where the story was told, as Mal Meninga is on the far side. And did you hear Tony there, the man of the match?
Sorry, David, the earphones prevented. I would say my man of the match was Ricky Stewart.
Okay, we'll catch to him shortly as the Prime Minister, John Quayle, and Ken Anderson are on the presentation dais, and the Raiders are still on the far side of the paddock. And on behalf of all the football commentary team, we thank Arch Tambakis for staying with us while we complete this grand final coverage of 1990, because Arch was supposed to be on air at 5 o'clock, but with the late start, as the champagne flows over there on the eastern touchline. 18 points to 14, and recapping the earlier grades in the reserves, Brisbane 14 defeated Canberra 6. In the President's Cup, Canberra 16 defeated St George 12. So the Raiders, minor premiers, in all 3 grades, into all 3 grand finals, and successful in 2 out of 3. So I think it'd be pretty fair to say, Mike, they had a pretty useful year.
They've had a very successful year, and I see Bob Hawke down there going to make the presentation with John Devine from the Winfield Company, John Quayle, and also Ken Arthurson all there, and security guards. Bob Hawke must have thought he was in New Guinea with the boo that he got here. It wasn't too well received up there either, but that always happens to politicians.
Well, one thing about a grand final, you do push your neck to the line, don't you? There's no way to get away from it.
No.
Well, I've now lost Tony Melrose again. He's out there somewhere. There's so many people on this ground. It's quite extraordinary. So, Tony, you can report into Mike. You got him. Right, Tony.
I've got Glenn Lazarus with me, sporting a couple of cuts and looking the worst for, but very, very happy. Glenn, how's it feel?
Mate, unreal. You know, last year was great, but to win 2... It takes a good side to win a premiership, but it takes a great side to win back-to-back, and I think we've proved that we're a great side.
There's no doubt about that. Can you just give us a bit of an idea of the pace of the game? And there wasn't much crowd atmosphere today, and I think a lot of them were just waiting for something to happen. What was the pace out there like for the players?
Oh, very frantic. It was very quick. I probably think it was a bit faster than last year, you know. Both forwards were getting up quick. And, you know, we're just getting rolls on, and you had to give no minute where you're back, you had to go up again, and mate, it was probably as big as last year.
Was a Penrith side, were they as good an opponent as what Balmain were last year?
They did themselves justice here today, you know. But they beat us convincingly twice, and when you were in for a game, they certainly gave us one today.
Waiting for a nomination tonight on that Kangaroo tour?
Oh, mate, yeah, we're all going to be back in Canberra celebrating and that, but I think a few of us are going to be in the corner with a radio or a telephone or something, just waiting to see which names are called out.
Congratulations, you'll be on it for sure.
Thanks, Tony.
Yes, indeed, Tony Melrose. How too is that Glenn Lazarus. What a whale of a game the big fella played today. So, Tony, if you can make your way to that dais there for that presentation as the Panthers now rejoin the group, and full marks to Phil Gould, the way he kept everyone aside. Phil Gould's gone over to shake the hand of Mal Meninga. Nice touch. As we're about to have the presentation for the Winfield of 1990. Then by the Raiders, 18 points to 14, as Mal Meninga will be coming up very shortly to receive that. And what a big day. First of all, we had the Panthers with Royce Simmons, and if Tony Melrose can get there pretty quick smart, we'll have what Royce has got to say.
Just congratulations to Canberra, the worthy champions. I'm very proud of the way our boys give everything. Thanks to the Penrith supporters we're here today. Thanks very much.
Magnificent loser, obviously bitterly disappointed. He received his loser's medal from Bob Hawke, the Prime Minister. He's going to go right through the defensive side. There's a champagne, of course, gets popping, and popping. King Strange is getting the champagne rolling over. I don't think King Strange would care one kind of it.
I couldn't hear what you said, though.
I know, it's pretty radical, isn't it?
Well, I think all I saw was a full champagne bottle. They started spraying it, and someone threw it right in amongst the Canberra players, but they dodged it.
They dodged it, right? So Tony Melrose is making his way over towards the northern end, because there is an absolute melee of people around the dais. And soon the mighty roar for the defending champions, Canberra, successful by 18 points to 14 in a marvellous second half for the Raiders. But I tell you what, the more you look at the sad part there of the losers departing the scene and heading towards the other side, still staying on the ground, because that's the way they played the game. They played in the best of spirit, but heavens above, that wasn't the Panther side that we expected, was
No, they seemed to just run out of puff there the last 10 or 15 minutes, and the forwards just weren't moving up at all. It was left to Alexander and Fittler to take the balls up from the dummy half, where it may be. And as far as attack was concerned, just at the last minute there when the ball was kicked through, it was Izzard and Fittler who were up there to take it. There was no forwards within cooey of the ball, or to even help them in defence.
Well, Ken Alderson, the president of the International Board, the Australian Rugby League, and the New South Wales Rugby League, should open a hat shop. There are 3 big hats. And eventually you'll get the Raiders up here with Mal Meninga. Tony Melrose is down there. Tony.
Yes, Ken Upton's just announced that Ricky Stewart's won the Clive Churchill Medal for the player of the match. I don't think there's any doubt it was a unanimous decision.
Okay, Ricky Stewart. What a blinder he had. And this is Ricky Stewart.
Something more really believing. I really couldn't know without the 15 players that got on the field, and the coach that played the 6th round for a lot longer than King James.
Ricky Stewart, winner of the Churchill Medal, and he's the luckiest fan of that. He'll also join the Canberra. That's what will be announced later this evening, and that's quite something. Okay, we're about to have the Raiders come up to get their trophy, and as with Malmaninga is coming up to receive it, let's go first of all to the President's Cup and repeat that. Canberra 16, St George 12 in the first game of the day in reserves. The Broncos won their very first, absolutely first in 3 years title as Malmaninga comes up to receive his trophy. Brisbane 14-6 over Canberra, and we'll hear from Malmaninga any second as he receives the magnificent Winfield Cup from the Prime Minister Bob Hawke and from Ken Arthurson as the photographers click away merrily and holds it aloft, and that's the sign that they want to see from the Canberra Raiders as he looks to the east, to the south, and ready to accept the Winfield Cup. Getting a bit heavy, and Canberra have got a good history in dropping Winfield Cups.
Thanks so much for coming here today.
Mighty Malmaninga, the captain of the Raiders, up there for the second time in 2 years to receive the magnificent Winfield Cup. Okay, thanks to Art Backers for bearing with us for the extra 15 minutes of this telecast of the 1990 Winfield Cup Grand Final, and to all the folks that have helped us this year, and to Michael Cleary and Tony Melrose, a special thank you for all that you've done. Back to Malmaninga. Down there near Chicka Ferguson.
Chicka's too busy holding up the shield with Malmaninga, but it was nice gesture of Malmaninga to especially call him up and say farewell, and what a pleasure it's been playing with him.
Let's get the rest of these Raiders up here to get their medals as well. When they come up, give them a big hand. Come on, let's get the rest of the Raiders up on the field so they can get in and shout. The Canberra Raiders, Premiers 1990.
The ground host saluting the Premiers of 1990. Well, in thanking Michael Cleary and Tony Melrose, it's been great working with you in 1990. To Gary Lester, to Andrew Lord, to Tony Adams, to John Geddes, to Rod Fuller, John Lloyd Green, John Little, Nick Robin and Newcastle, Scott Simpson at the Gong, Jeff Milne in Brisbane, and John Kinsella in Canberra. Thanks all for your help. To Tanya Bracey, a special thank you for putting it together. Boy.
So it's all the way. It's a sad moment because it's been a good team, and all Steve and all his little group in there in the studio. I mean, there's a lot of people we may forget, but it's a great team effort. And
I'm not going to forget them. We've got Bruce Quinn who filled in for Tanya there. Also to Tad Pearson in the studio and Brendan Stone as well. We've got a new team next year. We wish them well. We've enjoyed your company this year and wish Peter Peters and Greg Hartley and co the best for next year. But I tell you what, we've had a ball in 1990.
Oh, we've had a great year, and it's been great working with you, David. And I'd just like to say that I've mentioned it before on air. I've been with a lot of callers. I never found one as accurate as you and as dedicated as you. And you've done me a turn, and I really appreciate it. And speaking on Tony's behalf also, we've enjoyed being on the sideline. What's going to happen next year is in the lap of the gods, but as a new team, but we'll be around somewhere.
Tony Melrose, I thank you too.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, fellas, that takes us out, and do thank you for your support this season. As I said, the new team next year, we do wish them well. That's a very genuine wish. In the meantime, we'll leave you at the Sydney Football Stadium with the Raiders 18-14 over Panthers, and the Raiders stay supreme. Thanks, Art Stambackers, to you two for giving us that extra.
Great calling, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks, Art.